Welcome back, Wolfpack. Brolis here, and this is how to use Accelgor. Now, Accelgor is one of the fastest Pokemon in the game with 145 on that base speed. That is just absurd, but it's also in the name. Accelgor, accelerate. Pokemon's funny. I'm funny for noticing the puns. Isn't that funny how life works? Look at its other stats, they're pretty much to be expected. When you have a Pokemon that's this fast, you can't expect it to be tanky at all. So 60 on the special defense, 40 on defense, 80 on the hit points. We should just not anticipate to survive too many hits whatsoever, and 100 on the special attack. Now this is really weird because we have Pokemon that's so fast, outspeeds everything, but it doesn't have a lot of direct damage, so we will have to work into that. 100 on the special attack is good, but it's not excellent. It's not going to find one-hit KOs. It's not going to be overwhelmingly powerful, so we will have to keep an eye on that. Look, its typing going to be a pure bug type, and that means flying, rock, fire weaknesses, fighting ground, and grass resistances. I don't really think it matters too much because we're so frail. Maybe the resistances if we want to come in on a really good opportunity, but other than that, the weaknesses and the neutral hits, they're pretty much going to be the same thing. Now, we also don't want to switch in Accelgor because it is a Final Gambit Pokemon. Hopping into Pokemon Showdown, we're going to see something very interesting when it comes to Accelgor. So we know it's an absurdly fast Pokemon. The idea behind Final Gimmick is that you just eliminate your opponent's setup whatsoever. So if they're going for Stealth Rock, Spikes, something like that, you just don't worry. You outspeed them, you knock them out, you get that 1-for-1 trade, and then you just call it good. So they have to have more than 80 base hit points with full hit point investment to get through that. Now, Accelgor is also really weird with the speed as well. So 145 base speed. If they have a Scarf Pokemon that's 80 base speed at level 50, they're actually going to outspeed you. They're going to have 217 speed, you're going to have 216 speed. However, when we flip the tables and say Accelgor goes up to level 100, so depending on the format that you're playing, Accelgor actually changes what it's going to do. And then Altaria, so then we bring it up to level 100. Just any base 100 or base 80 speed is going to factor in. So then the 284. So speed can have a big impact from level 50 to level 100. Accelgor does get outspeed against Scarf setup or something weird like that in some formats, but not others. So you will have to pay attention to that. So the idea is you can either choose to absolutely trade. Just say Final Gambit 1-for-1. You don't get your setup. Therefore, I might have a theoretical advantage if your team relies on that a lot. Now, you can get disrupted by Focus Sash, which is a problem, but Accelgor can also choose to trade the setups. So the idea behind this is you're the ultimate 1-for-1, but you also get setup. So you understand they're going Spikes, Stealth Rock, Sticky Web, Calm Mind, whatever they want to do. You do that. So you get your Spikes, you let them set up, and then you outspeed them into an Encore. After that, they're locked into the move, and if it's a status move, it's not really going to benefit them too much. So that way, you have your setup, and they either switch, and then you get the Final Gambit, or they stay in, they try to tough it out, and then you Final Gambit them anyways. So this just means you get Spikes and a 1-for-1, they get their setup in a 1-for-1, so you're trying to make the battle a 5v5 with Accelgor. Now, if they are trying to damage you, Bright Powder can be your friend in really weird situations. Now, if they're just going to be a faster Pokemon, like Scarf 85 base speed or more, then there's not really much you can do about it. That's why you just have Bug Buzz for damage. You just switch out and not deal with it. But if there's the absolute worst situation, I think Bright Powder is really the only item you can use on Accelgor when you think about it. Focus Sash isn't going to do anything for you with the Final Gambit. Maybe Mental Herb. That's it. But the thing about Final Gambit is that it's actually an offensive move. This right here signals that it's a special attack. It's not status or anything like that. So you're not going to be able to get taunted through your Final Gambit. You can use that while taunted because it's a damaging move. But if you want Spike set up that bad, maybe the Mental Herb. If you don't want to get gimmicked by like a Prankster's Swagger and maybe have that throw you off, then you can use the Lumberry. And that's kind of it. Now, we did see recently in Fan Fridays that you can actually Swagger Sweep with the Klefki or any kind of Pokemon like that. So maybe the Lumberry would work, that you just, okay, Swagger didn't do anything, now I get my Final Gambit, there goes your Klefki, 1-for-1 trade, and they lose a heavy gimmick. So that can work, but for everything else is Bright Powder, because there's really nothing else you can put there, so might as well give it that 10% chance to miss. They miss the move, you get the advantage, and you can snowball it off of that, because nothing else, no other item besides Lumberry is going to be effective on Accelgor whatsoever. So that's going to be my push for the Bright Powder right there. But if you don't want to do gimmicks, you can also just use Accelgor as a pure offensive Pokemon. Now, Accelgor is going to be very, very powerful in the late game. It's like your last Pokemon. You've tried to damage all of your opponent's Pokemon really well, just across the board getting damage. Make sure you remove Pokemon that resist you, because Energy Ball, Bug Buzz, Hidden Power isn't the best coverage. But once you come in like that, you just go for that sweep, and you're going to be very effective at it. So with 145 speed, you don't even need to put in speed, like you don't need a speed nature. You just max out the special attack, you max out the speed, and that's going to be pretty nice. Say we take a Pokemon like Greninja. Greninja it with that 122 speed, and then we go and give it a Timid Nature, you're going to outspeed it. It only has 377, so you're going to be able to Bug Buzz it and do crazy damage, but this applies to a lot of other Pokemon, so you get pretty reliable outspeeds, just solid across the board, and then you hope for that cleanup. That you also get Substitute, so if you feel they're going to go for status or setup, Accelgor comes in, uses Substitute, and now it's just going to be a nightmare to deal with. So 100 special attack isn't a lot, but we get the Modest Nature, get a little bit out of it, and with the Life Orb, we're going to be doing over 50% to a lot of opponents, especially with the Stab Bug Buzz or something like that, and super effective hits are going to be really powerful as well. Now, cool thing is, Ferrothorn isn't going to be able to do too much to us either. We outspeed them on the Substitute, that means Leech Seed isn't going to affect us, and then we two-shot them with a Hidden Power Fire, so it just shows like the ultimate late game of Accelgor, that if they're missing good amounts of health, that if you already have a spike set up for different Pokemon, if you have Stealth Rocks, if you have just damage across, well then, Accelgor outspeeds everything on your opponent's team, it can find the right Substitute setup, and then it just goes and wins through Bug Buzz, Energy Ball, and Hidden Power Fire. So that's going to be one of the main strengths to Accelgor, but that's it. It doesn't have too much else on the coverage that you see Bug Buzz, Energy Ball, but then we might use Focus Blast. I don't like that 70% accuracy. The only other thing is Sludge Bomb, and that's mostly going to be for knocking out Fairy-type Pokemon, but the problem with that is that Steel-type Pokemon will completely wall us out because Energy Ball, Bug Buzz, and then Sludge Bomb. So Hidden Power Fire is going to be our like only little bit of damage with that. Substitute is niche play. I know a lot of people that swear by Substitute, and I also know people that don't like using Substitute that much. So you can also just see the Sludge Bomb. That, you know, if you don't encounter any status, that you're in the late game, you're not really worrying about their tricks or whatnot, sure, let them set up or let them do something like that. If not, then you just go for that Sludge Bomb, and then you can convert more coverage, more damage, better options in some situations. So it's a situational thing. Substitute will work in a lot of situations. Sludge Bomb will find the times where it works better. That Sylveon that's kind of hanging on the edge, you know, it lost a good amount of health. You just need to get that Sludge Bomb in there and knock it out. Well, that's kind of how this is going to work. Our ability is going to be Sticky Hold. Sticky Hold makes it to where we can't lose our held item due to knockoff or something. In the late game, if they're trying to like tank it out and they're trying to knock off our item and make us lose damage or something, well then we hold on to our Life Orb, we still keep that 30% bonus damage, and that might be enough for the KO. Other than that, we can also go for Agility Baton Pass. So we've seen earlier that a Pokemon like Emolga is infamous because of Hayden for using its Agility Baton Pass with Encore. Accelgor has that and more speed. So the idea is, first turn you use Agility, they go for setup, so you let them get Stealth Rocks, you let them get whatever they want to set up against you, and then you just go for the Encore. So you set up trap them with the Encore, and then you have your Agility, and then you just Baton Pass. So the ideal thing is that you're Baton Passing on the turn they're switching out. They're stuck, they can't do anything, they need to switch out to free themselves from that Encore, so then you bring in a Pokemon that needs Agility. A lot of us are aware of the Epic Executor suite, but that's not the only Pokemon that works with it. Any slower Pokemon, any Pokemon that needs double speed, think about Swift Swim Pokemon. Think about Pokemon that have Chlorophyll. Well, giving them an Agility is going to be a free Chlorophyll. That I've mentioned a lot of Pokemon guides, you know. If it's a bulkier Pokemon with setup that, you know, it can come in, use the Swords Dance, survive a hit, have that Agility, and then sweep from there, it works out pretty well. Now, in a very ideal situation, Accelgor won't take damage. So they go for something weird status, I don't know. They do something like that to you, and then you just kind of go off. Now, you're going to be at very high hit points, if not full hit points. So next time Accelgor comes in, it's going to be way more useful than Emolga. So unfortunately, if you're running the Accelgor, it kind of invalidates Emolga entirely because Accelgor comes in, uses Final Gambit, it can trade that 1-for-1 in the end, and that's kind of all there is to it. And then depending on how you're looking at it, this set is going to be better than this set because now you can gift Agility, you can gift stats into another Pokemon, then come back with Accelgor later and be like, oh, by the way, 1-for-1. So maybe that could be like some kind of like the craziest sweep ever. So Accelgor goes in, goes for that Agility Pass or something like that, and then that Pokemon knocks out 5. Then it's the last Pokemon versus Accelgor. Accelgor comes back in, he's like, oh, by the way, I'm back, Final Gambit game. That'd be one of the coolest games ever. And that's what Accelgor can do. So we have damage, we have like the ultimate late game cleanup Pokemon, we have the ultimate setup into trade, and then we just have a really fun anti-lead. So Accelgor, pretty diverse, pretty powerful overall. So I do want to see people use the Accelgor. It has those opportunities where it can do a lot of really good things. So if you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you all have a nice day. Thank you for watching.